Music. Good morning. It's the Bill and Jessica Show.
What's up? Good morning. It's going to be humid today. Rain arriving late. Highs in the mid to upper 70s.
All right, we go live to the hotline. We have Ocean City Mayor Rick Meehan on the line, our friend. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bill. Good morning, Jessica.
Hi.
Yes, thank you so much for checking in. We appreciate it. How's everything?
Everything's, well, we're moving forward.
Yes. Well, look, we have a lot of questions we want to get into from, over the weekend and things going on in Ocean City. First up, I wanted to ask you about an update on the medical waste that is washing up ashore. I know that's a big news topic right now. As of right now, beach is still closed, correct?
Yes, the beach is closed to swimming. You can go out on the beach, but we encourage people to make sure they're wearing shoes. And if they do happen to come across any of this type of material, not to pick it up, just to call somebody. Bill, this really started happening, for the most part, I was informed about it early Saturday morning. There were some traces late Friday. It was very isolated. But Saturday morning, I was notified, and it was right before the Beach Patrol went on duty. And at that time, they instructed the Beach Patrol, emergency services did, to close the ocean to swimming. It was a rough surf anyway, but we wanted to close the surf so that we could get a better handle on this situation. There was quite a bit of debris that was washing up. Immediately, the Beach Patrol, working with Public Works and OCMD, began cleaning up the beach. Any of the materials that were syringes or those type of materials were bagged and were stored in bio-safe containers so that they can be examined later.
So there were actual syringes being washed up.
There were.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
And a lot of other stuff too. It wasn't just that, but it was cleaned up. We kept the Beach Patrol out there on quads, keeping people out of the water. For the most part, everything got cleaned up. There was very little additional materials that came up on the beach later. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, the beach was clear. I think they only found one or two things that had washed up. But out of an abundance of caution, we've still got the ocean closed. It's very rough out there anyway. There's a storm that's brewing. We want to make sure that, we're clear of this material. Wasn't just Ocean City. This started, in Delaware all the way down through Assateague and Chincoteague and Lower Virginia. Assateague closed their entire beach. All the other jurisdictions have been putting, restrictions in place until this subsides. So, this is one of these things we just want to be very careful about. We have no idea where it came from.
Okay.
I was on a call yesterday with the Maryland Emergency Management, and they had all the jurisdictions on that were affected by this. Everybody's following basically the same procedures, locally cleaning things up. We have been in contact with MDE, and of course one of the first things we did was contact the Worcester County Health Department. So we followed all the procedures that are, in our emergency management plan. Who's going to lead the investigation would be at a higher state level as far as where this came from. So right now that's unknown. It looks like, we're moving through this, and hopefully in the next day or two we'll be able to open the beach back up for swimming.
Wow. I mean, has this ever happened that you know of before, that where you've actually had to close the entire beach? Not the medical waste, but I mean where you actually had to close the entire beach for any kind of reason?
I think we have in the past. This time the beach is open. It's just not open for swimming.
Okay.
There was, it goes back a long, long time ago, there was some medical waste that washed up on the beach. It was very isolated, but this goes back years ago. This is the first time that, I've really seen this type of, thing occur in Ocean City.
Yeah.
But, we're well prepared. We have a good emergency operation plan, which affects more than just storms and things of that nature. Everything's been followed. Our goal is to protect the public, keep everybody safe, make sure the proper cleanup is done, and there's a safety time period, that we adhere to before people go back into the ocean.
So there are some rumors, of course, circulating around on social media, talking about, oh, there was a cargo ship, and it dropped some things in the ocean, some medical waste. They were transporting it, but you're saying that that's not been confirmed. There's no, you guys have not confirmed anything of how it got to where it is.
No, we have not. I mean, all those things are possibilities.
Right.
But we really don't have any clue at this point. That's why the hazardous material was bagged and kept so it can be analyzed to see if there's any, way we can trace where it came from. Mm-hmm. But again, that will be done at a higher level. The state's completely involved because of acetique. So, we're just going to have to follow this, and hopefully we will be able to determine where it came from. Because, if it was, there are accidents, but if it was some type of illegal activity, I think everybody certainly needs to know that.
Yeah, no, wow, absolutely. Well, hopefully, we can get things back on track and be able to open the beaches up, and or the water, being able to swim anyway. And you say you guys are anticipating hopefully the next day or two.
We're hoping, but it's an abundance of caution. We're going to make very, very sure, that we're all clear, and also some of the areas around us are clear, because it could just be, pockets of debris and not knowing where it's going to wash up. But it does appear, at least from where we were late yesterday, we're out there this morning. I haven't got the report yet that, what was happening has not occurring at this point in time. But again, we just need to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that info. And I know the town of Ocean City's done a great job of keeping everybody up to date as well. You guys have been, releasing statements more than once a day, so we appreciate that.
We released the statement immediately. We were probably the first ones that really did. We wanted that statement out there. Anytime you have a situation that involves emergency management, communicating with the public is one of the most important things. That's a procedure that we always follow.
Wow. Next thing I wanted to ask you about, Bike Week. This past weekend, always a big weekend in Ocean City. There was a lot of accidents. I hate to, harp on, the not the good things, but it seemed to me, and I don't know what the stats are, but it seemed to me, and a lot of people, again, on social media, we get a lot of our stuff from social media, that there was a lot more accidents this year, not only in Ocean City, but outside of OC, all involving the bikes. Have you guys kept track of that? Is that true, that there was a lot more this year activity?
Of course, the police department keeps a very detailed, accounting of all accidents, all different levels of accidents, and everything that takes place, all the traffic stops, everything that takes place over the weekend. We've seen some preliminary reports. Don't really see a large increase in the numbers, but we did have, I think, more significant types of occurrences during Bike Week over the past weekend. And of course, the one fatal, not fatal, but the one accident, that happened at 12th Street, and there was a young 16-year-old student, Decatur High School student, involved in that as a personal injury accident. And, hey, Bill, Jessica, we all, Bill, your son goes to us, Steve Decatur, my grandson does, all these kids. I mean, this is a local tragedy. I mean, everybody is just totally upset about what happened with Tyler, and all our thoughts and prayers go out to him. It's just a tragedy, and those type of things certainly raise the level of concern over any type of event. The Bike Week, Bike Fest, whichever way you want to call it, is a topic discussed at our motor vehicle task force. Of course, it was a motor vehicle task force that was formed about 6 years ago, where we went to the state and got some legislation to enact special event zones during different events. We did not have a special event zone enacted during Bike Week. The police department, the last couple of years, because of the drop-off and the number of insignificant type of accidents that had been occurring, didn't think it was necessary to have a special event zone. But that will be revisited We have a motor vehicle task force meeting coming up on on September 25th or 26th. I chair that, and that will be a main topic of conversation. We are fortunate that the state did pass some laws that included some of those provisions of our special event zone that are enacted year-round that we were able to utilize.
Uh-huh.
But, I think it's like anything else. Even though the special event zone has done its job with all the events, bringing the level of activity down a little bit, it seems you need to keep them in place. Even when things get better, you need to keep those type of laws in place just to keep things the way they should be. They seem to, quickly get out of hand once you remove those type of, restrictions. So I think that's going to be a major topic of conversation.
Is Bike Week something? And look, I know this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I just have to ask. I saw a lot of people on social media, saying that, they shouldn't even have a Bike Week. Why? They don't want the H2OI, but then look what happens when bikers come down here and there's so many accidents, and you don't hear about all these accidents when, the non-sanctioned, events, come to Ocean City. Is Bike Week something that's here to stay? Is it, I don't know. People are calling for Bike Week to be canceled. What's your thought on that?
That's always a topic of conversation, and honestly, we'll have a very open conversation about that at the Motor Vehicle Task Force.
Yeah.
There is a difference, or there was a difference. H2OI, you had 50,000 plus cars coming to Ocean City with the expressive intent to cause havoc,
right,
and to cause panic in our community. I don't believe that's the case with Bike Week. You do have, as with any event or any motor vehicle event, or really any event, you have some of those that just don't obey the law.
Right.
But I don't believe that event is structured to come here and cause specifically those types of problems. So I think there's a difference, as far as that's concerned.
Okay.
But as far as public safety is concerned, that's what we really have to take a look at and analyze as we move forward with any of these events.
Now, is this meeting is that going to be an open meeting, or is it?
Oh, yes.
And when is the meeting again?
Pardon?
When's the meeting again?
It's the 25th or 26th at 11 a.m. I don't have that in front of me. But I formed that task force. It goes back 6 or 7 years ago, because of the problems we were having with H2OI and also with the cruising events.
Yeah.
They had started to grow and get a little bit out of control. And that task force led to the legislation and being able to establish special event zones and really did its job. Now it's tasked with looking again at this particular event and really looking at all our events to make sure we're doing everything we can, if they're going to continue, that they're as safe as they could possibly be.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, we appreciate all, the work that you guys do. But I think the special event zone was I think that's going to be a huge topic, something that, people would like to see enforced, during all these events, no matter whether, they think there's not going to be as many people in town or not. Just given the nature of what's been happening, Yeah,
I think you're right. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. We gave the benefit of the doubt, and maybe, in some ways that wasn't the way to go. So, we're certainly going to look back, and, we're not afraid to take a look at something and say, what, we need to change how we do that.
A little bit longer on time, the tram is now closed for the remainder of the season on the boardwalk. Typically, how did the tram normally run on the boardwalk throughout the season? When did you kind of shut it down normally?
Well, the tram after Labor Day typically was scaled back to weekends, and then the final time of the tram would have been on Sunfest weekend, but it would actually stop for a while. Then, since Sunfest is to move further into the season, then restart. It's unfortunate. We have a lot of concern. We had some people last night at our council meeting. A lady was talking about how some of the elderly, residents and visitors, this really is a hardship for them because, they can't transverse the boardwalk like they normally would. how much they miss the tram. We all miss the tram. I mean, I would really like to get this back as soon as possible, but there are some things that we need to do and we need to make sure are right before the tram's put back in service. Again, that's just one of those things that, we're looking at what we can do, what we should do, if there's anything we're missing. And, it's a public safety issue, and we just need to make sure we get it right. So we apologize for the inconvenience. I hope people have some patience. We need to make sure we have the tram right before it goes back on the boardwalk.
Now, as far as like different ideas of things that you guys could do to make the tram, a little bit safer or whatever. Because first off, this incident, it's an isolated incident. Not to make it any lighter than it is. Obviously, it was just awful. But this has never happened before, correct?
Not like this. We did have another fatality a number of years ago.
Okay.
When a young lady ran into the tram and was running and got caught in between the tram. It was a little bit different. We did. It wasn't something that was. It was different than what occurred this year.
Yeah.
We're looking at the Jeeps. Are they the proper engine or vehicle to pull these trams? Are there things we could do to modify the Jeeps? Looking at our drivers, all of our protocols. Everything is being analyzed, and it should be, because one time is one too many, and it was isolated, but and we realize the impact it has on our residents and visitors. So our goal is to get the trams back and up and running as soon as possible. But there's certainly criteria we're going to have to go through before that's possible.
Now I know, like on the boardwalk back in the day, the trams used to just go up and down like a straight shot up and down the boardwalk. And then over the years, you guys built like more downtown. You built like a
tram lane.
Yeah, like a tram lane. Yeah, there you go. You guys pull over, but that's not the entire boardwalk, correct? That's just at a certain area where it's probably more busy, right?
Actually, the reason for that is when we did the beach replenishment project, once the seawall was built, that was determined as the easternmost structure we could have as part of the beach replenishment project.
Okay.
In the lower downtown area where the beach is wider, that area extended further east, so we were able to build the boardwalk tram. The tram lane, as we call it, the concrete area of the boardwalk. Mm-hmm. But north of 4th Street, you have the seawall, and we can't build anything east of the seawall. That's why that tram lane stops at 4th Street.
Got it. And is that because the seawall's there, or because it would be like because people would argue, let's just take the seawall out and put the tram lane.
No. The seawall, that's part of the beach replenishment project. That's part of what has sustained and protected all the property along the ocean front. The seawall and the dune system that was put in place. That's the most important project we've ever done in Ocean City.
Yeah.
We've had no damage from storms since then. Prior to that, we were losing the boardwalk, every so often and having significant damage. So, and you can't put the concrete in front of the seawall because it basically creates a ramp for the water to come up and over. So,
got it.
That's something that we always are looking at that to see if there's a way to do something additional. But at the present time, there is not.
Okay. Well, gosh, I don't know.
Wow, that was a lot.
Yeah, I think we covered, mostly everything that we wanted to ask you this week. Normally, we ask you what you had for dinner over the weekend, what restaurant you went to. But
this was a busy weekend, and it wasn't the kind of busy that we want to see. Because you're right, for the most part, we're able to talk about all the good things that are happening, coming up, and everything. But I also think that Bill and Jessica, it's good. To address these issues and maybe answer some of the lingering questions that the public have. I can assure you the Mayor and Council is looking at all of these things, takes everything we discussed today very seriously. Citizen input is important. That's why we had a couple of people talk on a couple of these issues last night after comments from the citizens at our council meeting. And believe me, we we take all those comments to heart as we move forward.
You have a big mayor race coming up. Normally, you've been winning with flying colors for years, and you've been doing your thing. We appreciate everything that Mayor Rick Meehan does, but now you have someone who put their hat in the race. Any thoughts that you'd like to share with the upcoming election?
Well, briefly, I'm excited about the election. The mayor has to run every 2 years. Council members run every 4 years, but they put the mayor out there every 2 years. I think we've had the last couple of years until this couple of weekends. We've had tremendous success. I'm excited about the future. The future's now, and it's what we do today that paves the way for tomorrow. And I think when you look at some of these issues that we're facing, the issues with U.S. wind and the wind turbines, being vested in those things, and just the relationships that I've been able to develop, not only locally, but, at the state and federal level, to assist the town in addressing some of these major issues, are a tremendous asset for the mayor to have. I think I'm the best person for this job right now. Bill, it's something I look at every 2 years. Nothing's forever, and don't intend to be mayor for life. But right now, I think working with Terry McGee and Hal Atkins and the city staff and the council, I think I'm the best person to do that, and I'm going to be out there. I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to be campaigning, and I'm going to be asking the citizens for their support for another 2 years as mayor, so we can continue moving Ocean City forward.
Hey, you are the best. We appreciate everything you guys do, and that you do, for the town of Ocean City, and for us, and we appreciate everything. Mayor Rick Meehan, keep fighting that good fight. Keep doing what you guys do, and we appreciate you as always.
All right. Well, Bill, Jessica, thank you, and maybe next time we'll talk about some lighter issues, and hopefully be in a better position to do that.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Thank you so much. You have a great.